Welcome back, everybody. Let's take a break with Stephen Shamus.
Good to see you, my friend Alex.
Yes, sir.
What is that on your? What's on your
Shipyard?
shirt?
It's a fall.
Shipyard?
It's a pumpkin beer that I enjoy really late into the season. Past the season, almost 2 seasons past. Still repping the sweatshirt.
Alex, every week you have a new shirt on with a new thing on it. I got
all kinds of
never
clothes.
wear the same. You never see you with a same shirt twice.
Good.
So I give you that. And I've also never seen you in a room with Justin Turner at the same time either.
Could be true. Could be something to think about.
I'm just saying. You know, if they ever make a movie about his life, I'm writing you in, man.
All I need is lose 50 pounds and some extensions, some high heels.
Too bad he's not. Yeah, but by the way, too bad he's not like running for president or something like that. Because then you could be like on Saturday Night Live.
I would do that.
You know what I'm saying?
I would do that.
Then you'll be really in the business. Okay, what are we talking about today, Alex?
Yeah, let's finish up Masters of the Universe. And then continue on the kind of like nostalgia 80s cartoon action figure stuff. Talk a little G.I. Joe and round it out with Thundercats.
Thundercats!
You know, what's interesting is once Brad brought up to us that he's noticed the trend on this 80s stuff. If you look at the prices, he's not kidding.
Right.
The prices are up anywhere from 30 to 70% over the last 3 months. It's really remarkable. So it's going to be interesting to talk about. Like, as I'm researching the prices, I'm like, wait a second. This G.I. Joe book went from 150 to 200, 250, 300. It's across the board.
Yeah.
Like even like basic issues. So we'll get into it a little bit. And I know that you know something about G.I. Joe. I know you know something about Thundercats. I know you know all that stuff. That's your generation. You're a little bit past me.
Yeah.
You're a little bit past me. Okay. All right, Alex, what are we starting with?
Yeah, let's finish up the Masters of the Universe, some He-Man stuff.
Right. So we finished up we left off. We were in 2003 from Image and MV Creations. So we're going to pick up with the 2004 series. Also Image MV Creations. That came out in April of 2004. Now, these books are expensive. So there's definitely, Master of the Universe, even when it kept switching publishers or whatnot, there was still really a demand there. I mean, they must have still been printing these things in a pretty decent quantity and demand, because the prices you're about to hear are absolutely astonishing.
Yeah. This
2004 series is very, very popular. It's considered volume 3. It's April of 2004. There is only 1 blue label and 0 gold label 9.8s. It actually, the blue label transacted on eBay for $400.
Wow.
But it's about a $20 raw book, which leads you to believe is that, like, if you have that book or you can go get a raw copy, go get one, $20.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Press it. And
that's
great.
what I would tell you.
ASAP. Yeah.
Right. Then there's the Barch variant. That also came out. There's only 2 blue label, 0 gold labels. That's also a $20 raw book. Then you have the Emiliano Santa Lucia gatefold variant cover.
Yeah.
1 blue label, 0 gold label. That's a $75 raw book. Okay. Then you have the Frank Quietly retailer variant cover.
That one's good.
That is a $350 raw book. There are 6 blue labels and there are 0 gold labels in 9.8. So again, very, very rare.
Yeah.
Then you have, and then after those, throughout the series, they have these He-Man.org variants. Alex, I cannot tell you how friggin' rare these books are.
Yeah.
They are crazy rare. I don't know if you're a member of He-Man.org. I don't even remember them doing these books.
These are the super
already.
fans. The He-Man.org people aren't just selling their books. They have these. They're not getting rid of them.
Correct. So they were all limited to 500. Okay. They all sell for about $300 in raw. They did issues 1, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So there were 5 different He-Man.org versions done. They're all $300 raw books. The 9.8, the only one that ever came to auction, sold at $1,500. So if you could find a raw copy, now I don't know where you'd find a raw copy because the dealers couldn't order them or get them.
Right.
Alex, were you a member of He-Man.org or no?
No, I wasn't. I didn't even know until after the fact
Why not?
those were coming out. I guess I'm not a true
You blew
fan.
it. You blew
I'm
it.
not a true fan.
Alex, you blew it.
I know.
You blew it.
Classic Alex.
You could be rich. Alex, you could be rich today.
I know. And yet here I am.
Okay. I got you. Okay. Then that takes us now to the 2012 DC comic series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There was some mini comics that Dark Horse did some mini comics inserts in, but they're mini comics. There's no pop on them. They sell for $25 to $30. We don't have to get in too deep into that. So the DC series came out in September of 2012. So it's interesting. Now went from Image and now it's at DC. It's interesting that DC would pick up a license like that, considering all the characters they have in their own universe. Why do they need somebody else's characters?
Right.
But maybe they thought they could get, I think it was around that time, Alex, they were trying to do more kid stuff, if you recall. Remember that?
Yeah. They were trying to push some stuff out. Yep.
Yeah. The Raina Telgemeier stuff, by the way, if you give a kid the Raina Telgemeier DC books, they love those books.
It's the best selling graphic novel of all time. Smile. One of them. Yeah.
It's amazing. Every time I give, I have friends that have kids. I order they make them in like 3-packs on Amazon.
Yeah.
You send them the Raina Telgemeier books. They love them.
Yep.
There's no better kid. There's no better. If you want to send a kid books, there's nothing better to send than the Raina Telgemeier DC
Agreed.
books.
Yep.
100%. Like they're the best gifts in the world for young kids. Because you know what it is? It gets them to read. You know, if they don't feel like reading or they don't like reading, they'll read the books.
Yep.
They'll actually read those books.
Yep.
They're so well done. Okay. So He-Man Master of the Universe .1, September 2012. The DC version, there's only 10 Blue Label 9.8s. There are 5 Gold Label 9.8s. There's only one 10.0. And the pop is too small. We haven't seen them there. So I would try to find copies. I mean, it's only 8 years old. You could probably still get copies of that book.
Yeah, I think so.
The sketch cover, there's only 8 Blue Label 9.8s, 3 Gold Label 9.8s. There's no sales on those. And then get this, the one where there is a sale, the Dave Wilkins variant. This book is on fire, Alex. Yeah. There are 26 Blue Label 9.8s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There are 26 Blue Label 9.8s. There are 3 Gold Label 9.8s. It's a $1,200 to $2,000 book. Even raw, it's going to be cost you almost $1,000. What's up with that, Alex? How is that book so expensive?
I mean, the Masters of the Universe, again, it's a heavy property, but this DC series wasn't as popular as the Image ones were. So, I mean, it was ordered heavily, but not in the numbers that you saw when it was rebooted in the early 2000s. So, I mean, a lot of this was hard to find. And again, it's your He-Man guys. Your He-Man guys aren't people that buy stuff and then sell it 5 years later. They collect and they keep.
I hear you, man. And then DC did a mini comic in the unnamed one action figure. Those are about $20 raw. He-Man versus Skeletor. It's a comic book. So, you know, again, the mini comics we're not going to touch too much on if you're into that sort of thing. Then in June of 2013, DC did its next series of He-Man Master of the Universe. 25 Blue Label 9.8s, 4 Gold Label 9.8s.
So small.
Again, there's not enough pop for sale. Again, people, this one is the rarity one here.
Yeah.
The Matty Collector's variant.
Yeah.
June of 2013, 2 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. Good luck, Alex.
Jeez. Yeah.
Good luck finding one, raw, anything.
Bananas. It's crazy.
I don't, you just can't find them. And then the last one is the She-Ra Dodson variant.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That book's $1,000 raw. There's no pop on it.
It's Dodson.
So even though, by the way, maybe DC just didn't make a lot of copies of that particular #1, but those books are selling for a lot of money. So there's definitely a lot of He-Man nostalgia and thirst for that stuff there. So, all right, what do we got next, Alex?
Just keep going with the 80s nostalgia train and do G.I. Joe.
Fight for freedom wherever there's trouble. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe, American hero.
Yeah, so this was fun to kind of go down the rabbit hole after we spoke to Brad last time. It was definitely eye-opening when you see the G.I. Joe collectors, what they collect, how they collect, the second prints, the third prints, and all the different iterations of every single book. and obviously GI Joe is sort of an iconic property.
Yep.
We've had Larry Hama, a friend of the show's, a friend of ours, come to our events. He's a real character. If you're not subscribed to his Facebook page, do yourself a favor and sign up for it. He's got some really funny, brutally honest, funny sentiments, right?
Yep,
I would say, Alex.
Yep.
About
Definitely.
anything.
Yeah.
About anything. Could be politics, could be comic books, could be anything. Larry doesn't care.
He's
and
great.
He's great. So, I think you're going to be surprised by all this. But Alex, did you collect GI Joe the figures when you were a kid or no?
Oh yeah. I got into them. I got a lot of second hands, and then towards the late '80s and the early '90s, I was really into them.
Oh, okay, good. All right. So this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
The 80s stuff has been on fire.
Yeah.
When we start going through the 1980s series, we're going to just touch on the Marvel stuff today. It's a real handful. It's a real lot to take in. There's Canadian variants. There's second prints. There's newsstand. There's a lot of versions of these books. Some of them are impossible to sort of, find and get real pricing data on. But again, I wish shows were open. You can go dig through the boxes and try to find some of these things, because I don't know how closely people are paying attention to the price variance or the newsstand.
Right.
The newsstand is sort of a new phenomenon, right? So,
right.
Okay. So we're going to start with GI Joe. GI Joe #1, June of 1982, based on the toy line. 617 blue label 9.8s, 81 gold label 9.8s. There's actually 3 9.9s. It's a $1,500 book. Now, for 617
that's
pop,
a lot of books.
That's a pretty decent price. Now, that book has escalated a lot recently, like Brad said. What is it about the nostalgia? What is it about GI Joe, Alex? You were a kid, you collected GI Joe, you collected the figures, you collected the comics, that it's endured, 1984. I mean, you talk about 36 years, Alex.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, GI Joe is just, again, like you said, it's just nostalgia. It's very heavy. If you were a boy or a girl growing up in the 80s, you definitely watched GI Joe. You definitely had some GI Joes. Everybody had GI Joes. Very rare do you find someone that goes, oh, nope, I never watched a cartoon, read the comics, or played with the toys. You had them. You knew it. You know about them. And GI Joe is not something that I would say they keep reinventing and redoing, but I mean, there has been movies. There's been a couple movies. There's always talk about more movies. I think another Snake Eyes movie was in the works or is in the works. The comic book series keep going. There's still new comic books from IDW. And there's always going to be new type of talk about GI Joe. And it's just this 80s nostalgia thing. And, when the nostalgia started happening in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I mean, these people are still buying this stuff. It's not going away. You're still nostalgic. People aren't nostalgic for Howdy Doody anymore. So you can see kind of how that goes and it comes out.
What's funny is the one thing that always sticks in my mind is when Eddie Murphy did the joke where he had the GI Joe with the Kung Fu grip, like from his stand-up special. Yeah. Like that just sticks in my mind. His role in Coming to America, there's so many the different stand-up, but there's so many iconic and memorable lines.
Yeah. His Gumby,
the barbershop scene. I can't wait. Oh my God. I can't wait for Coming to America too. Oh my God. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. It's such a long wait for such a great movie. Okay. So then GI Joe #2 comes out in 2 months later, August. There are 97 blue label 9.8s. There are 6 gold label 9.8s. It's the first Quinn, KWINN. And that's about a $500 book. The second print, there are 19 blue labels, 1 gold label 9.8. That's about a $200 book at 9.8. So you got the second print is still pretty valuable there.
Yep.
And if I recall, for some reason, the #2 book for a while, Raw, was selling for more than #1 because it was considered a short printed book. I think the sales back then, and again, the sales patterns do have some of the same trajectories today where they kind of go down like this. For some reason, I think that the sale on 1 to 2 really went down significantly, and people didn't realize how popular it was going to be. Because remember, and this is still true today, is you were ordering #2 before you got #1.
Right.
But you didn't get #1. You were ordering #3 or 4.
Right.
When you already had your sales data on #1.
Right. and you knew to.
And this is 1980s. They didn't have the point of sale systems, Alex.
Right. Yeah, you just looked on the shelf.
They didn't have the point of sale
4
systems
copies.
back then. You didn't. 100%. You didn't have any of the gunning or anything like that. Nothing. So it was a different time. You have to go back in time in your brain. Okay. Then the next significant issue is G.I. Joe number 14, 1 year later, August of 1983. It's the first Destro.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 53 blue label 9.8s. There are 5 gold label 9.8s. That's about a $500 book. There's the Canadian price variant, 5 blue label, 0 gold label 9.8s. Second print is 0 and 0, and it's a cheap raw book. Talk a little bit about the character Destro. Why is that character so popular, Alex?
I mean, Destro, when you're talking about villains of G.I. Joe, obviously it's Cobra Commander. Obviously it's later in life Serpentor, but Destro has always been there as well, and he's just really cool. I mean, he's an arms dealer, but like he just has a gold helmet face, like that's it, and he's just a bad guy. And of course, he's got the great look with the with the plumes here or whatever, and then the Baroness being his number 2. It's just as a villain and the side characters, and we can talk about He-Man and Skeletor and Beast-Man and Moss-Man and all the crazy like side villains, but Destro was really cool. He had a gold head, like it was neat.
Yeah. Well, very expensive book there.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we get into the G.I. Joe number 21.
Yes.
March of 1984. 112 blue label 9.8s, 11 gold label 9.8s. There's actually one 9.9. That is a $3,000 book. It's the silent issue and the first Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
I'm going to go through the rest of the versions, and then you're going to talk about both Storm Shadow's first appearance and the silent issue. The Canadian has 1 blue, 0 gold. And the second print has 20 blue, 1 gold. The second print is $280 raw. Okay. And a newsstand 9.8. Again, they don't break out the pops on the newsstand versus the hobby. $5,000. Oh. Alex, what is going on? What is all the goodness that is G.I. Joe number 21? Go ahead.
I mean, first of all, the cover is amazing. It's Snake Eyes repelling. Probably the most liked character out of G.I. Joe's Snake Eyes. I mean, I think hands down, you can say that Snake Eyes is the best. The mysteriousness of him and everything. And then you have Storm Shadow, which is Snake Eyes opposite on Cobra. And then, there's history with them. They had the same master, later books, just they're so intertwined. Storm Shadow becomes a G.I. Joe at some point. And, all in all, as a great Snake Eyes book, as the first appearance of Storm Shadow, which is hugely popular, and it's the silent issue, which the whole book was silent. It's Snake Eyes didn't talk, and that it was his book, so he didn't talk, so the whole thing was silent. And it's one of the first kind of books that did stuff like this. There was a couple books years later. Marvel did Enough Said, where it was also silent issues, or if you will, but this was an experimental issue. And Larry Hama, I think, if you could say knocked it out of the park, I think that's being minor. It's such a huge issue in the comic book industry.
Yeah, it's iconic. I mean, Alex, it blows away issue 1.
Yeah.
Blows it away.
Yep.
Okay. And G.I. Joe number 26, Alex, comes out in August of 1984. That has the origin of Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
It's a big one.
There are 47 blue label 9.8s, 10 gold label 9.8s. That's a $750 book. The second print, there are 30 blue label 9.8s, 1 gold label 9.8. That's about $170. And again, there's a Canadian price variance. There's Canadian price variance on all of these books.
Yep.
They're all 0 and 1 pop books. Good luck finding them. Try to find them raw, whatever. 9.6s are selling for $500 or $600 on all these key issues. Wow. Talk a little bit about why these origin issues, Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, because the origin continues in the following month, and that's another big money book.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like I said before on number 21, these are 2 of the most popular, if not the most popular characters in G.I. Joe fandom. And this is the origin. I mean, this explains, who their master was and how they trained together and why they're intertwined and why Storm Shadow's on one side, Snake Eyes is on the other. It's just, when you have books like this, when you have characters like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow, that 6 issues ago was the first appearance, everybody clamors to know more, to want more. And, when you have a whole issue on 2 of the biggest characters in the fandom, I mean, it's always going to sell. It's always going to be a hot item.
Right. And then that leads us to 27, where it continues. That is September of 1984, Snake Eyes Origin and Storm Shadow, 49 Blue Label 9.8s, 9 Gold Label 9.8s, $500.
Yeah,
the second print is 14 Blue Labels, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. That is actually not very valuable at all. They only sell for about $40-$50, so people are not getting them done. The Canadian issue, again, 0 and 0 on the pops. If you could find it, get it.
Yeah.
All right, and that leads us to what we keep talking about, Alex, every single time, the final issue. And the reason why it's the final issue is because the sales are down and they keep going down. Okay, that leads us to G.I. Joe number 155, December of 1994, final issue. I feel like I'm on, is that your final answer?
That's it, yeah.
It's your final issue, Alex.
Yes.
110 Blue Label 9.8s, 5 Gold Label 9.8s. It's about a $400 issue, and it's a very, very popular issue.
Yeah.
Kind of got a cool cover on it too.
Yeah, it's a great cover. All the Joes standing there. Is. Yeah.
So I think we covered G.I. Joe. We covered Master of the Universe.
Yes.
Before we get to our final topic,
the best topic,
Alex's pick of the week. What do you got for us?
Well, I don't know if anybody's keeping track of card sales. I definitely am not until I saw an email from CGC. But a Pokemon card, a printing plate promo card, sold for $360,000. This is.
Did you throw yours out?
Boggles my mind. I mean, I never had one of these. I never had one of these, no matter what. I think I gave my old Pokemon cards to like a buddy who was still into it. That aside,
does he have your Charizard?
No, I never had one of those.
The last Charizard 10 sold for $350.
Oh, this is crazy. And the funny part about this card is, I know printing plates are literally the plate that they use to print off the cards, and this was one of those. But it was also a promotional card, so they gave these to market the card. So it's not exactly the straight up printing plate, but it was both. It was a promo card and a printing plate. $360,000 for an American Pokemon card. That is crazy.
You were the underbidder on that, right?
I bid $30.
I thought you went up to $350 and then you got. I thought you went up to $350 and then got outbid at $360.
That's it. Yeah. And then I was like, you know what? $360. I'm out. I'm out at $360.
Right. That's what I was thought you were saying. Yeah. That's what I thought you were so upset about.
Let's talk about the Thundercats.
Tigra ready. Oh!
Cheetah ready. Oh! Wily Kit!
And Cat. Oh! Snarf! Yeah! Ready. Oh!
Thundercats, another crazy popular property from the 1980s. Yes. You'll talk about it in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get into it a little bit, and then we'll get into what Thundercats is, right? Because I don't know that everybody knows Thundercats.
Right.
The prices will tell you that the fans are out there for this.
Right.
So Thundercats number one. Now, Thundercats number one debuted in December of '85. 162 Blue Label 9.8s, 10 Gold Label 9.8s. That cover's pretty awesome, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Jim Mooney and Brett Breeding cover. I'm not as familiar with Jim Mooney's work, but it's a great cover, that Thundercats number one. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that book sells for about $750. Again, there's a Canadian version, only 11 blue, 0 gold, 9.8s. And the newsstand, again, they don't separate them out, only sells for a slight premium at $900. The second print, there's only 4 Blue Label 9.8s, 0 Gold Label 9.8s. Wow. That's about a $50 raw book. And then the third print, 0 and 0. There's only a few 9.6s out there. It sells for about $40 raw, $115 and 9.6. I think any of these books you get raw, I would get them. Prices are very, very strong in 9.8s. Even in 9.6, the prices are strong. Before we move on to subsequent issues, what is Thundercats, Alex? Why is it so popular? Talk about it a little bit. Why are you laughing? What's that so funny?
Because Thundercats is just like, exactly what is it? So I guess it boils down to it being it's aliens in space who are cat-like, who ship lands on a planet, and they can't leave the planet, and they find someone named Mumra, and then it's very fantasy there. They fight this Mumra character, and then the Lino, the lead guy, he can get stronger by saying his Sword of Omen's oath, and it was just one of those weird cartoons that you could say it was kind of like a He-Man. I wouldn't say ripoff because it's not like He-Man, but I mean it's a bunch of characters. They all have different powers and stuff, and it's just one of those things that people just love Thundercats. And then the theme song's beautiful. The theme song's great. That helps a lot.
Can you sing it? Can you sing a bar or two?
I would, but I don't want anybody's speakers to blow out and their ears to bleed, so I won't. I'll refrain this time.
Maybe you can play a note or two and copyright infringement.
Yeah. I'll get out my recorder and I'll add it later.
Got it. And then again, the next most expensive issue is the last issue, Alex.
Right.
June of 1988. Again, Thundercats number 24, lasted 2 years. 9 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s, about $200.
Mm.
And then I will tell you, in subsequent years, there was in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Thundercats number 1 that came out again.
Yep.
There's actually 80 blue label 9.8s, 28 gold label 9.8s, 3 9.9s, and 3 10s.
Wow.
It's about $125 book, $20 raw. Interestingly enough, there's 2 different covers. CGC doesn't break them out. CGC would normally break out individual covers. They did not for some reason. But that book's 18 years old already, right?
Yeah.
Arthur Adams did one of the covers. Ed McGuinness did the other. They're really, really nice covers, by the way.
Yes.
They are beautiful covers. And then DC Wildstorm did another series in 2003. A few months later, April of 2003, Thundercats number 1, The Return.
Mm-hmm.
And there are 4 blue label 9.8s, 0 gold label 9.8s. It's about a $10 book raw. Those, again, 2 covers, one Ed Bennis, one John Cassaday.
Yeah.
Those books look like pretty good pickups if you can buy them cheaply enough. I tell you, with all the nostalgia stuff going on and with all the crazy prices that you see, I'm telling you, you buy these books, this is the place to go. Because I've seen it with sports cards. We've seen it with the Marvel cards. We talked about the Marvel cards. They've doubled, they've tripled, quadrupled. And just when you think, oh, it's junk, no one's going to buy it, blah, 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 then they buy it. Then it goes like this.
Yep. They're sitting in dollar bins. They're sitting in dollar bins. They have been, and they're beating around. Grab them, press them, send them in.
Alex, imagine the first comic show that opens up.
It's good. Everybody's going to make so much money.
And everyone has all the dollar boxes. It's going to be like
and no one's gone through them in a year and a half. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Can you imagine all the Star Wars books, all the Marvel and DC film related books?
Miss Marvels, yeah.
JSA,
yes.
The Alex Ross JSA books for Black Adam and the Superman number 4 with Idris Elba.
Yeah.
That's oh my God, it's going to be crazy. Bloodsport, oh my God, it's crazy.
Fantastic.
All right, Alex, that does it for this week.
Yes, sir.
We will see everybody next week. Same bat time.
Same bat channel. Thanks, guys.